So I want to introduce myself. My name is Andrea Wilson. I am a recruiting operations specialist with K12 and I work in our HR department. And today I will be hosting our K12 Arizona meet and greet. So if you see me looking back and forth, I have two screens right now in my living room, dining room. So that's why you'll see me going back and forth. So before we get started, again, just wanted to give some house rules and our agenda for today. So again, make sure you muted your microphone. We will be having a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. So just be sure to hold your questions. And then once we'll open the floor so that you can either type your question in chat or you can come off mute and give your question over the mic. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can in our hour today. And if not, we'll also give you contact information so you can still reach out and we can answer your questions after the session. And again, this session will be recorded. So basically today, it's pretty laid back. Our format for our webinars, I'll typically just give a brief overview of who we are as K12, and then first I'll introduce our speakers, then I'll give a brief overview of, who we are. And then today, since Arizona has two schools, we have individuals from both Arizona Virtual Academy and Insight Academy of Arizona here so they can speak to you about their school, and then we'll open the floor for questions and answers. So our speakers for today, we have Sarah Sakura. She is with Arizona Virtual Academy and she is our K-5 assistant principal. We have Caitlin Velasco, who's also with Arizona Virtual Academy. She is the 8th grade English language arts teacher. And we have Brooke Mosley Schubert. She's with Insight Arizona, and she's our director of special programs. And they will be speaking to us later today about their different schools. So before we speak to them and I'll ask them about their school, I just wanted to give a brief overview as to who K12 is. And as you can see, I have displayed our mission statement, which is we help students reach their full potential through inspired teaching and personalized learning. And we also have our values, which we try to embody this through passion, accountability, courage, and trustworthiness. Now, as far as who K12 is, we've been around since 2000. Our headquarters is in Herndon, Virginia, which is about 25 miles from Washington, D.C. And I also work in their headquarters. Of course, right now, due to our current COVID-19, we're all working remotely. So that is different as daily working from home. So that's something new for me. But as far as K12, we are one of the nation's leading providers of online curriculum and support services for grades K through 12. And as far as the schools that we have tuition-free online schools, we have tuition-based private schools, we have hybrid schools, and we also have curriculum that is available to be purchased. So we have other schools that may use our curriculum. And again, like I stated, the different schools that we have public, private, and individual course curriculum. And a lot of these distinct options are available for, again, advanced learners or homeschoolers, college and career-minded students. But basically our saying that we say is K-12 is education for anyone. And I also posted a map of where we're located. We're actually located in over 30 states, and our services are used by more than 2,000 school districts. So we're going to start with Arizona Virtual Academy. And basically I'm going to just ask them some questions about their school so you can get a feel for their culture there and who they serve. And so I will start with Sarah, if you're there. I want to ask, as far as your school, how long has Arizona Virtual Academy been around, and what grade levels do you all serve? And I'll hop off of mute so you can.
So, hi everyone. I'm Sarah Sikora. I'm the K-5 assistant principal here at Arizona Virtual Academy. We serve kindergarten through 5th grade, and our school has been around. Brooke, you might have to jump in on this one. I always tend to forget. I've been here since 2012, but our school has been around before that. Exactly. Thank you, Caitlin. 2003, 2004. Started out very small. I started when I was here in 2012. So it kind of gives you a picture of how long AZVA has been around. Very, very popular in our state.
And Sarah, when you started in 2012, what was your role coming into the school?
When I first started with AZVA, I was a kindergarten teacher. I taught kindergarten here for 2 years, 2.5 years. And then I was asked to move into the 4th grade position, and I taught in the 4th grade position for 2.5 years. And then was asked to be the lead master teacher. Just like in a brick and mortar, we have lead master teachers who guide our teachers and help train and do all kinds of different things. And then moved into the vice principal, assistant principal role 3 years ago. But I started as a kindergarten teacher, started at that level, and absolutely loved what I did.
Now, Sarah, when you started with Arizona, did you have prior experience with virtual teaching, or was it something new for you?
I actually had no prior experience with virtual teaching. I came into this from the brick and mortar. I had taught about 8 years with in a 4th grade classroom, and I just wanted to change. I felt like I needed something a little different in my life, and wanted to kind of push myself, and thought, where could I do that at? And I thought my friend was teaching for Arizona Virtual Academy, and she said, there's an opening, we would love to have an interview for you. So I didn't have any experience, but I had a great lead master teacher who brought me on and trained me, and really gave me that support that first year to guide me in this adventure.
Awesome. I'll also ask the same question to Caitlin. How did you hear about AZVA, and when did you join the team there?
So this is actually my first year teaching with Arizona Virtual Academy. I joined the team last year in July. I heard about it just for the internet. It was something that when I graduated with my bachelor's degree in secondary education, I had seen as I was searching for a job. I took a traditional job in brick and mortar. I worked at the same brick and mortar for 4 years. And then last year, I just thought I was looking for a change, and why not? And I applied, and now I'm here. So that's my story. I really have enjoyed the last 8 months.
Great. Welcome aboard. And Sarah, could you also just talk about being in a virtual classroom, what the class sizes are typically like there, and at your specific school now, like what's the typical class size and what the enrollment is, if you can expand on that.
Sure. So for kindergarten through 5th grade, right now we have close to 1,600 kids in our program for kindergarten through 5th. Each grade level is a little different, has a little different enrollment. I would say we would have close to about 60 kids per teacher seems like a lot. I mean, whenever I say that, I always tend to scare people a little bit when you've kind of come from a classroom where you have 25. But it can be done in an online format. It's done very successfully, and our teachers do a great job being able to meet the needs of all of those students. You're not meeting with all of those kids at one time. You definitely have different class sizes depending on what you're teaching in the Class Connect program or the Class Connect class. So you could have a small group of 10, you could have a larger group of up to 30 or 40, just depending on what you're instructing. Yeah.
Awesome. And also, before we go to Insight, can you just talk about the staff there? Like, is it a big group, and how do you all stay connected as far as being virtual as well? I'm sorry, I should have for Sarah or Caitlin.
Okay, repeat the question one more time. How do we stay connected virtually?
Right. As
Okay.
just this, like the staff, and what does that look like working in a virtual school?
Sure. I would say that our staff feels very connected, maybe even more connected than in the brick and mortar, because you work very closely with them in Zoom platforms, which is that video conferencing platform, or in Link, which we have through our program. They do grade level meetings, we have staff calls, we have everything that you would have in a brick and mortar classroom. We also meet in person at least 4 or 5 times, 3 or 4 times a year. So there's that connection that's there too. I would say that they feel very, very connected that way. Each grade level for kindergarten through 5th grade has about 5 or 6 teachers attached to it. If you were to ask those teachers, I think they develop a very close bond because they work so closely together to support all of their students.
Great, thank you. All right, I'm going to move to Insight and ask Brooke some questions. Let me go to my next slide. Okay. Brooke, I'm going to ask you also the same question. When did you start with Insight, and how long have you been with the school?
Well, thank you, Andrea, and hello, everyone. It's nice to see all of you here and so many people interested in getting to know about this online education adventure. I had the privilege of joining Arizona Virtual Academy and Insight, so my position spans over both schools about 6 years ago. And so I came here from Illinois and the East Coast. I did most of my special education administrative positions from those different states, and then I moved to Arizona, and I was, starting over in the sense of like finding another job, and I saw this position posted, and it sounded very exciting. I was excited to apply for it because it would give me an opportunity to be innovative, creative, and do something that most schools hadn't figured out. How do you provide services for students with disabilities in an online setting?
Great. And when you started with K12, what was your role? And then if it was different from what you are in now, how did you transition to the role that you are in now?
So actually, I was an external hire as an administrator. So I came right into this role. My role has evolved over the years, and I've taken on different components of special programs, but I came right into this position as a district level administrator.
And since you were talking about special education, um, can you explain to those that are online how that looks? I know a lot of times I get questions when I'm out or I travel as far as special education. How does that work? And is there any differences, or is it somewhat the same in a virtual setting?
Right. No, it's a great question. And one may think that because we are an online school that we would look very different than a brick and mortar traditional setting, but actually we don't. If you think about, we provide a continuum of services for students. We provide direct live instruction, kind of similar to what you're experiencing now for students. We have IEP meetings in a Zoom type platform as well. So if you think about it, I call this a virtual conference table. And so we're all sitting around the conference table, conducting our meetings and having IEP meetings, going over evaluations. And then when we're having instruction, we provide live instruction for our services for all of our students. We do have a continuum where we have students that have from least restrictive to maybe consult resource level support, all the way to students that have significant disabilities and are in what is typically called a self-contained program. And so we are able to serve all students, K to 12, all levels of disabilities. One thing I do want to highlight, can I just highlight one thing? Since we are an online school, and this is a big talking point given our current affairs and events, we do provide most of our related services, speech, OT, PT, all of that virtually. And so as our brick and mortar traditional colleagues are kind of trying to figure that out in these events, that's something that we pretty much do on a day-to-day basis. However, we do our evaluations in person.
Great. And you talked about your being able to serve special education for K through 12. So for Insight, do grades also go all the way up to 12th grade outside if they're not a special education teacher, or do you go to a certain level as well?
Good question. So Arizona Virtual Academy is kindergarten through 12th grade. Insight Academy of Arizona is 7th grade through 12th grade. One thing to know and understand the difference between the two schools, Insight Academy of Arizona, it has an alternative status through our Department of Education. So and they work on a trimester base. So it's structured a little different. Insight tends to draw students that have some different types of needs. They might be teenage parents, they need more alternative type schooling options, tend to have a lot of students that have some maybe some more social and emotional needs. Not saying that doesn't exist in AZVA, because it is, but we tend to draw that population, and they have a more developed social and emotional learning support piece in that school, comparably to AZVA, although we all are interested and want to support students' social and emotional learning. But we tend to have that type of demographic more at Insight.
And do you know, as far as the current, how many students you have enrolled in Insight? Is it about the same?
Yeah, I don't have them pulled apart. There is a significant difference. AZVA is a much larger school since it's a kindergarten through 12th grade. I can tell you that a total school population across the district, all the schools, Insight, AZVA, we have about 6,000 students enrolled with us. And we have about 350 approximately staff members that work for us. And of that student population, there's about 950 of them have IEPs.
Now, as far as for both schools, I know you were saying they had different needs. So, and this may be a question for Sarah or for Sarah, but if whoever's online, as far as they're listening right now, so let's say, what typical student would be drawn to AZVA than the Insight School, or what needs do they typically have in AZVA than
Well,
Insight?
yeah, when we're thinking about AZVA and Insight, so we're talking middle school and high school, not not K5 in this part of the conversation right now. Typically, AZVA in very high level general terms is more college preparatorial, has a little bit more stringent in, we call it lock dates for requirements of assignments needing to be done, a little bit less flexibility in that way. And it's much more, college prep oriented. When you look at Insight, I don't want to make it sound like students at Insight don't go to college. They do, but we do have a larger population at Insight that might do more of a go to the military, go right to work after school, after they graduate, or go to a technical school. Another very evolved part that's new with Insight, and it's connected to Insight, is Destinations Career Academy, which has our CTE component. And so it tends to draw those students that want to get more of those hands-on and go in more of the technical fields in compared to AZVA. Sarah, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, you covered that very well, Brooke. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, now I will move to our next slide, and I'll still ask some more questions probably when we get to our question and answer, because I do see questions in chat that I'll ask you both. But as far as current opportunities that we have at Arizona and Insight, I just listed some, but I know we have Jill Arnzen, who's our recruiter for our Arizona schools. And Jill, I will ask, as far as the not enrollment, but your current, the school year, is that available? Is it open now, or are you looking for positions for the next school year? Where are we in terms of that? You'd like to answer that.
So we currently have positions for Insight Arizona as well as Arizona Virtual posted right now for current school year, as well as for the fall for 2021. You can simply go to our careers page, find all of those opportunities. As you see, Andrea has posted some of the opportunities that we have here that's currently posted. One thing I would note to everyone that is interested in our opportunities within Arizona is to look daily. These will change as enrollment grows, as many different things can cycle in and out. And so if you're interested in opportunity, please apply. You'll have contact information also from the recruiting team in the event that you want to reach out to ask individualized questions. And again, it will be an evolving thing. Most of our openings are starting to come out for the fall. Right now, the majority of them will be trickling out in pretty fast forward paced for the month of April. But we are reviewing all resumes and looking to hire for fall already. So take a look. If you know anyone also, or if you are interested in anything for the current school year, also look at those opportunities as well.
Thank you, Jill. And I want to get to some questions that we can ask for both Sarah or Brooke or Caitlin. So let me just look in our chat box and we can start asking some questions to you all. And I'll read them out so everyone can hear. Let's just start. I did see someone was asking about the calendar. Are both AZVA and Insight on a traditional school calendar? And Sarah or Brooke, if you want to chime in on that.
I can jump in really quick. We can tag team it, Sarah. So yes, we are on a very traditional brick and mortar type calendar. Insight and AZVA are slightly different calendars. I don't have it memorized off the top of my head, but slightly different. Potentially, sometimes we run into spring break or different, but we all get spring break. We get the typical holidays off that you would in brick and mortar.
Oh. Now, someone asked, do these skills provide opportunity for blended hybrid learning, perhaps if students require one-on-one help? I believe, are you asking about, this is Andrea Lucchesi? I'm saying that correctly? Or, Andrea, if you wanted to just ask over the microphone, we can unmute you.
So just overall, I'm asking if teachers have an opportunity to work with a student one-to-one at like a learning center or some sort of other location if they struggle with a particular concept and learning it like online.
Take that one, Brooke, if you want me to. Yes, we have blended learning centers. There are currently 4 across the state of Arizona that are open in different areas of our state. So there is an opportunity for teachers, for students to come in and get support if they're able to do that. However, a lot of our teachers do set up Zoom, which is exactly like this, and do help this way. We have a platform called Blackboard that's going away next year that we have our teachers teaching in, and students can do one-on-one in there with our teachers. Next year, we're moving to a new platform called Neuro that is more video conferencing, just like Zoom. And so a lot of one-on-one or even small group 3-to-1 can be done, and it is offered. Yes, we have an opportunity to provide students that one-on-one in person, and we do, but we normally do it through more platforms like this.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Now, I see Jenny Samsel, you had your hand raised. Did you want to ask a question?
Yes, I did. I wanted to find out if your instructors will oftentimes teach middle school and high school, or will they typically only teach one grade level at a time?
I can jump into that one. We worked actually pretty hard at trying to minimize the crossover of grade levels for middle school and high school at this time. For AZVA, for Insight, I do not believe that they are crossing over schools for middle school or high school. Usually they are staying within that area. Can anybody else on the panel speak to what AZVA middle school, and are you crossing over grade levels at all?
I'm happy to speak to that. This is Caitlin Velasco. We do not cross over. I teach 8th grade language arts. That is my subject area and my area of focus. We currently have 4 teachers that teach 8th grade language arts only, and we collaborate on a daily basis, but we do not currently teach multiple grade levels or multiple subjects.
And then Sarah, can you speak to K5?
Yeah, we don't either. K5 is grade level specific. Our teachers may teach content specific, and we will be changing that up a little bit next year, going to more of a homeroom model. But they do share students right now across their homerooms and share math and ELA. But we do not share grade levels.
I will share in our self-contained program, we do some crossing over middle school and high school. We try to avoid it as much. We do a lot of, we have level 1 and level 2. Again, this is for students with more cognitive disabilities. And so we don't try to span more than 3 grades together. So at times we've done more crossing over than I think the other programming.
I'm going to jump in really quick. Caitlin, if you could answer this, it might give some highlights to you, those that are interested or new to the virtual environment. Can you kind of give us a look at like what a normal day look like for you as a virtual teacher? Just to kind of give some framework around, you know, what is it like? I mean, it's all kind of new or all new to everyone right now in the way the world is right now, but as a, you know, day-to-day, this is your job, what does it look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So my day officially starts at 8, but like all teachers I've ever known, I usually log on a little bit earlier than that and prepare for my first class. Depending on the day, I either teach 3 or 4 live class sessions each day. We have 4 levels, I guess, for lack of a better term. So we have an enrichment level where we're teaching at a really high rigor level and expanding and asking students to really extend their thinking. And then we have a proficient level where we have our largest group of students. Those are the students that are mastering the standards consistently with a typical level of support. And then we have our essentials and fundamentals students, and those students might need a little bit more scaffolding, a little bit more assistance. So those class levels are actually smaller, and in order to ensure that we can give more of that one-on-one support, I co-teach. I have a co-teacher. I only teach 1 class each day by myself. My co-teacher and I vary. She'll teach 8 a.m. class one day, I'll teach it the next day. And we were able to schedule that ourselves, decide what works best for us. And whenever I am the one who is teaching live, I'm the one talking, I'm the one on camera, and she's generally responding to any questions that students have in the chat. If they need to be pulled into a private room for a little extra assistance, if they're off topic and they need a little reminder that they need to bring it back, she'll be handling that, and then we trade off. We also have Help Lab, which is kind of what I guess I would call tutoring in a brick and mortar. Currently, we have that once a week, every Friday from 9 to 11 a.m. And it is an open 2-hour period where students can come in and ask questions. They can get assistance on assignments. They can say, hey, I read your feedback and I don't know what I did wrong. Can I have a little more clarification? So we do have that once a week right now. And a lot of kids take advantage of that time to even come in and just say, I want to work in here. And it reminds me of the typical brick and mortar tutoring where they say, I don't really need help, but I just want you here if I need you. So we have a lot of kids that take advantage of it in that way as well. We currently teach live class sessions Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, where Friday we do more our staff meetings. Those are all done virtually, our team meetings, and then that Help Lab or tutoring.
When I saw in the chat box something about wanting to know more about the learning curve, since you are new to us this year, I think that would be great for you to speak about.
Absolutely. Well, I just have to start off by saying I was nervous about that too. Personally, I got my master's degree online, so I was used to the virtual setting as a student, but not as an educator. So it was something I was definitely nervous about, but the first 2 weeks of work, we have some in-person professional development. Amazing. We were walked through and had the opportunity to ask any question that we could, lots of hands-on demonstration that we went over together. And then I was given a mentor, and my mentor teacher is actually my partner teacher, and she has been available for me day in and day out. Anytime I have a question, the first couple weeks of our virtual teaching and the end of August, she actually taught the first week, and I just observed and worked in the chat and kind of got used to things. But I can just say I'm okay with technology. I'm not great with it. I'm definitely calling on people and asking questions. I've never felt more supported as a teacher. And I just know that anytime I have a question, anytime I am second guessing myself, somebody is always there to help me out. So there is definitely a learning curve, but the amount of support that I've experienced has made it much less intimidating than it could have been.
Thanks, Caitlin. Someone was asking where in Arizona are the schools located, your physical location?
I can chime in. So our main office is located in Glendale, Arizona. Those of you are familiar with Glendale, around the Cardinals Stadium. That's our physical location. However, all of our employees, work outside of their home office. So our employees are spread across the entire state, as well as our students are also spread across the state in school from their home.
Thank you. I also saw someone answered or asked about in chat about the certification, and for that, teachers do have to live in the state that they are certified in. So I think that was Carrie that was asking about certification. Now, are there positions at your school that don't require certification that you could still apply to, just in case there is someone that still wants to be a part of the school, but they may not be teacher certified? Are there any positions available for that person?
Thanks for that really quick. There are. We have many office-based positions, whether it's a document processor. We also have advisor positions that don't require a teacher certification. Those are great positions to, work with the teachers, work with the students, but it does not require certification. There's just, many different office, like I said, office-based positions that, come up throughout the year. It's hard to tell exactly if there's something in particular that you're looking for, but most of the positions will be certified. But those positions that, maybe you still want to be kind of in the teaching realm, or in the educational, realm with, staff, then it might be more on like an advisor role, and we do have those positions.
Thanks, Jill. Now, I did see someone just asked, are summer school classes offered at either school, and when would those start, if you will have them?
We do not offer summer school. We do have extended school year through special education, but we do not offer summer school.
Now, is that also, Sarah, does that offered at AZVA, or?
That's for both schools, AZVA
Okay.
and Insight. We do not offer summer school.
Now, I did have someone just ask, can you explain the advisor role in the day in the life, or if either one can give insight of what that might look like?
So I can start, and then Brooke, if you want to jump in with anything that I missed. So our advisor role for K-5, middle school and high school, they all vary just a little bit. We have advisors who support the teachers, who come alongside the teachers and support students and the teachers. So you may have a student who is struggling and they need, an extra person calling them, asking them, how they're doing in their coursework, having them do their attendance, things like that. Helping teachers out in that way. They're just an extra support system for teachers when they're needing really anything. Right now, we have 4 advisors for elementary. I'm not sure how many are alongside middle school. I'll let Caitlin talk to that if she'd like to. And then high school has several advisors too. And every department, their advisors do something different. I know high school, they do more along with the grad rate, things like that. But for middle school, for elementary, it's definitely more of a support for teachers.
Caitlin, if you wanted to chime in.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe we have 6 advisors at the moment. It could be more than that, but they are just they're just a lifeline. They work with the students. They're constantly having open office hours where they can talk to the students about where they're struggling. They communicate with teachers if parents are experiencing technical difficulties, if they're having some sort of emergency situation, they know that they can go to the advisors, and the advisors and the teachers work very closely together to ensure that all the students that we have are supported. I never had anything like an advisor in the brick and mortar, so having somebody else to go to and say, the student's really struggling in language arts, do you know what's happening? And then they say, well, let me find out. And that amount of support is really valuable. It's something that I think a lot of families appreciate as well.
Okay, thanks, Caitlin. Now, and I see, Jenny, you also had another question. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. My question is for right now with there being, well, I believe there always is a shortage of teachers, but especially right now, would an emergency certificate allow me to actually jump in and start teaching right away as long as my intention was to be pursuing my certification as soon as possible when schools open up and when I can get down to the Arizona Department of Education?
In which school, we're just, for any of the Arizona schools, is that what you were asking, Jenny?
I'm sorry, yes, it would be, my interest right now would be secondary education, so 6 through 12. I've taught high school online for 2 years with a company called Pinnacle Charter here in Arizona in Tempe. And so that's really where I would probably hover.
I'll chime in. It'll be a case-by-case basis. Typically, an emergency certification is tied to a local district, or it could be tied to something else because of a sponsorship potentially. So again, that might be a case-by-case. I don't know. It's a good question. I would tend to lean towards probably not. But again, if it's an emergency, situation, I don't know. I would love to talk to you more about that, and I can get some further information. If you want, I'll put my contact information in the chat, and then we can talk offline about that.
Thanks, Jenny, for your question. I also saw that I'll ask to all of our speakers. Let me scroll back up. Okay, for speakers, a question was asked, what is the best part of your current role that you would, I think, and I said that right. I was trying to find the question, but we have so many questions coming in. Thank you, everyone, for all of your questions.
I can jump in on that one, okay. Andrea. I think the question that you asked was, what was the best part of my position? What I loved about my position. I just think I really enjoy everything about my position. When I was in the classroom teaching, I enjoyed the relationship I had with my other teachers. I think Caitlin hit it on the head. There's a lot of collaboration that goes on, and you're constantly in collaboration with your teacher friends, your teacher co-group, and also with your students, which in the brick and mortar, I think I got to know my students well, but here I definitely got to know my students very, very well, constantly in contact with parents and kids at all times of the day. In the current position that I'm in with administration, I love the relationship that I build with teachers. I love the relationships that I build with the other admin team. We have a theme in our school called Together We Can, and we incorporate that theme every day. Throughout our day, we are constantly telling our students we can do anything together, and that applies with our staff and our admin team, and it's just woven in our culture. So really just enjoy being part of K12.
Thanks, Sarah. Brooke, did you want to give your
Sure,
answer to that question?
Yeah, I would love to share. I think one of the pieces are the students that come to us. The students that we get have their own story, and the fact that we can provide a viable option to students who otherwise maybe wouldn't have options is very exciting to me. Also, we work with, hands down, some of the most intelligent, innovative, amazing teachers, administrators, support staff that I have been able to work with, and I've been doing this for a long time in my whole career. And so that brings me a lot of joy and exciting to come to work every day, to be able to work with people who are so passionate about what they do and so innovative. And then lastly, because I could go on and on about this question, but lastly, I have to say that Arizona Virtual Academy and Inside Academy of Arizona has one of the best school cultures I have ever experienced throughout my career. The way that everything that Sarah said, and I'm sure Caitlin can speak to it also, you know, the way we rally around each other, around our students and our family, and how we are constantly lifting each other up, because our district motto is find a way, is something that I have not seen other places to the degree that I see here.
That is awesome. Caitlin, I saw your answer. I'll just read it out loud. You said making those connections, seeing their excitement, and I believe you mean your kids, seeing their excitement when they come to class, seeing kids who struggle and be in B&M thriving. Now, can you talk about the B&M? I probably said that incorrect.
Absolutely. So as somebody who taught in brick and mortar for 4 years, making connections with kids has always been my favorite part of teaching. That's why I wanted to be a teacher. And I love my subject area and I love teaching English, but I love connecting with kids more. But there are students who struggle in the brick and mortar setting for whatever reason, whether it's a medical condition, whether it's a behavioral condition, whether it's where they live, their home life. There are a lot of students, and I noticed it myself, that no matter what they're doing, they're not successful in brick and mortar. And a lot of the time it's not their fault, because they're children. They can't control their environment. But we see students who need that extra support or need to be home. And just knowing that I'm able to support them and reach them, whether they're in the hospital or they're, moving back and forth from parent to parent, whatever the situation is, we can be there for them in a way that I couldn't in the brick and mortar. And I really enjoy that piece.
Awesome. We are in our last 10 minutes, so I'm going to try to get to some more questions that we have in the chat box. And someone asked, do we get to provide universal learner options for work, such as choices to present, express learning musically, etc.? And either Sarah or Brooke, if you wanted to jump in, or any of our recruiters, or Jill.
I'm not exactly sure if I understand the question. If it's more of the way that, is it like extracurricular type activities outside of the classroom setting? I don't know if Stacey can speak to that.
So thank you so much. What I was referring to was how students learn and express themselves through different modalities. So we have some students that might express their learning better through the choice of an artistic work. Some might express themselves better, you know, show their learning through just a slide presentation, and others might, you know, do a rap song or something along those lines. I was wondering if there were opportunities for students to do those things within the way the curriculum is structured.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. Sarah or Caitlin, can you be seeing the students, you know, within the school itself?
Yeah, oh,
Nope, go ahead, Caitlin.
I have an example actually of a teacher graded assignment we're working on right now. In the brick and mortar, often gave those choices because I have 3 children. They're all very different, and the way that they're going to show me their learning is going to be different. So with my, 100 and something students, it's the same situation. We do have opportunities that students can express their learning in different ways. The curriculum is set by K12, so we utilize that curriculum. But for example, for this teacher graded assignment that we assigned today, we gave students an option. You can come to class and we can have a discussion about it. And as long as you can show me your understanding verbally, I will give you credit for that. If you don't feel comfortable doing that and you would rather do it in written form, you're welcome to do that as well. And we have that set up in the online middle school. So there are opportunities. You can find them. It doesn't always correspond with what is in the curriculum, so you have to follow the curriculum, of course, but there are definitely opportunities that we as teachers find and utilize.
Thanks, Stacey, for that question. That was really good. Someone asked in the chat box, Erin Wheeler asked, do you have requirements of what you would like the background the students see to look like? Now, Erin, can you explain when you mean the background? If you want to hop on the microphone, you can.
Hello. Yeah, I'm just wondering what it is when the children log in, what it is that you want them to be seeing, like behind me.
Right now, we use Blackboard, which does not have like the Zoom features when we're teaching. So they don't normally have an ability, they see us, but we don't normally have an ability to see them. However, that is changing rapidly for next year. We'll be moving to a platform called Neuro, which is very similar to what we see in Zoom. And so we are creating, and Brooke can talk a little bit about this too, but there will be information sent to parents about what it needs to look like in the background, what's appropriate, what's not. But what you see in the background that Caitlin, Brooke, or I have is appropriate. Normally we set up things that it's up against a wall or someplace where somebody can't walk in and walk behind you, things like that. But we are setting that standard now just because we are moving more towards this platform.
Hey, Sarah, I think you covered it all. I think we want to create a professional background. So you think about it that way, and we're creating expectations where we don't see people walking back and forth, and we're conscious to, other things being behind us. So that's a good question.
Thank you, Erin. Now, another question we have, someone's asking about the curriculum and what curriculum is used for grades 2 through 5 and in high school language arts, who prepared the curriculum. And actually K12, we do provide curriculum, but if Sarah or Brooke want to talk about what that looks like for those grades, you can go ahead.
Sure. K2 or K5 has a curriculum that is given to every student. K12 sends out that curriculum when they enroll. Same for middle school, same for high school, and it would be the same for high school language arts. That is our online school, and they also have books that they use in the classroom. Or books that they use at home. So they have a product that they use with their learning coach. That's what we call their parent that's with them, or their adult that's with them at home. And so they have that curriculum. Our teachers in live sessions teach to standards, and I'll let Caitlin kind of talk about that too, but teaching to the standards, the power standards that we have in Arizona. And so that may involve our curriculum. It may not. It may be something that the teacher pulls from another source. And it is Common Core curriculum, yes.
So in our live class connect sessions, we as teachers review what is being given to the students in the online middle school per their plan that week. And we have a ton of options. We work together to create learning opportunities that are going to allow them to gain a deeper understanding of the curriculum that's given to them in the OMS. We will play review games like Jeopardy. We will do escape rooms. Sometimes we'll read aloud to them. 8th graders still love that. Who would have thunk? But we do lots and lots of collaboration. So we are not having to plan, 8 different lessons on our own each week. We will split the load and we all take 1 or 2. And it corresponds with the curriculum in the OMS, but it's an extension of learning.
I will add too, I know that all the schools do curriculum mapping, where that's very much a part of a group, process, curriculum mapping out, as well as we do have third-party curriculums and programs that we tap into to supplement. You might be familiar with IXL, RAS Kids, those type of programs that we supplement. And then we have a completely different curriculum for self-contained students.
Awesome. Thank you for that question. I know we have a couple minutes left. One question I did want to ask is, for a student that is just now enrolling, what things do they receive? Like, how would they get their books, or how did they receive all of that? Because I don't think I've heard anyone ask that particular thing. If they are not going to a brick and mortar, are there materials that are sent to them? Like, what would that look like? And if you could talk about that. Either Brooke or Sarah, sorry.
Can you clarify the question really quick for me, Andrea? I'm sorry. Did you say how is it sent to them?
Right. If they're just now joining one of your K-12 schools, like, what would they receive, or what they need?
Yep, it just depends on what grade level they enroll in kindergarten through 5th grade. Their curriculum is different, and so for each grade level, they would get different supplies. For kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, they have a packet that there are a box. I mean, it's several boxes of books. They have teaching materials in there for learning coaches. They have maybe some things that would go along with art supplies or go along with science projects, but it's all delivered to the learning coach for that particular grade level, and it's a lot. There's a lot sent.
You'll get several
Christmas,
boxes, each student. Several boxes.
Like Christmas for school. That's cool.
Well, and I will share too, though, that high school is all online. So there's not material that's being shipped for high school students.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm speaking for K5. Yeah, just speaking for K5, we have material shipped to our students, but it's different for each department.
Awesome. Well, we have 1 minute left, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Again, we did record this, so if you came in later or caught the tail end, I'll send this out so everyone can review it. But I do want to thank all of our speakers today. Thank you, Sarah, Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you, Brooke, for just coming and sharing with us about your different schools. I hope everyone that participated today, that you learned something, that you were able to get more insight about our different schools. Again, if you are interested in joining the K-12 family, please be sure to go onto our website, k12.com/careers, and apply to one of our positions. We would love to have you, join our family. And I'm sorry we were unable to get to everyone's question, but you can still reach out to us. I think we'll list our email. I'll put that in the chat box. But I wanted to just thank everyone for joining us today for our meet and greet. Again, I'll be sending this recording out, and once we have another event, we'll make sure to let you all know. But thank you again. And I see Jill is listing her email, Brooke, Sarah. So if you have any other specific questions for them, feel free to reach out to them. But it is now 8 o'clock here, so it's 5 o'clock in time.
Yeah.
So I don't want to belabor the time, but thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next time at our next webinar event. So have a great evening, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.